Okay, so like when you're not wanting to disappoint Yah, because he says, for example, that you are not to eat pork. And then you go to mom's house or grandma's house and she puts pork in front of you and she's gonna be sad and disappointed if you don't eat it. Which pain, which fear are you afraid of? Are you afraid of disappointing grandma? Are you afraid of disappointing Yahweh? We're gonna begin with Olivia. Olivia in person. Olivia's here.
Oh, Shabbat Shalom.
There you go.
Sorry, I scared myself. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you. I was totally going to say everything you did about the zone meetings. They were fantastic. I get so many nuggets, and I get so encouraged knowing that there's someone halfway around the world that I can see, I know, I hear, and they're asking you questions just like I am.
And I didn't say this, but one of the things that was very encouraging is that when I put the gallery up, where I could see everybody in a gallery view on my computer, more than half the people in the room are not from that zone, okay? So the room is filled when I'm doing zone 3 with zone 1 and zone 2 people as well. A lot of people in there. And then when I'm doing zone 2, zone 3, and zone 1 people are in there. I mean, it's great to see the rest of you guys in there, even though you're not the ones going to be asking the questions, but you're there to hear and receive and also to fellowship, to see each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so fantastic. Okay, go ahead, Olivia.
I get so encouraged, and Hannah always encourages me, and especially after our last 2 Shabbats and what you've been talking about and her questions that come up. She just makes me want to be ready. I get so encouraged with her being such a delight in asking questions at her age and trying to be ready. Right. It's so encouraging to me. It really is.
Well, I'm playing a little game with her. I keep telling her to hang on until I get there. And then I delay getting there so she has to hang on longer.
I appreciate it so much. I really do. And I also wanted to say that it just reminds me so much of Revelation, what Yah gave you to bring all the zone meetings and us doing Shabbat. It reminds me of the every tribe, tongue, nation, language is being brought together, and I get so geeked out by it. It's so awesome. Praise Yah. It's the closest I've ever seen anywhere.
Well, that's very true and very exciting. But one of the things is you can see the level of interaction that I have, say, for example, with like Hannah or Freya in Zone 3, because Freya, not only did I see her when I was there, but she came here and visited. So the more I've gotten to interact with people, the level of, that familiarity and the comfort with each other, and it's formal without being overly formal type of thing, because I've gotten to spend some time in person, just like I do with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a very different level of interaction with some of the people here, obviously, than even any of the other zones, because I see you on a regular basis, And so that's the beauty of when you guys out there watching, if you can come visit, it increases that level of relationship. I will try to visit to you guys as best I can, also. But that's what you also see when certain people come up to the mic, or you have somebody like a Janelle or an Elisheva who come up on a regular basis who I've not met in person, but because they interact on a regular basis, I get to know them a little more and they get to know me a little more, right? So I want to encourage people to, take advantage of that opportunity, that if I'm going to come to your area, make an appointment to get to spend some time saying hi and getting to know me. And if you're comfortable enough to get on a mic, the more you get on the mic, the more I get to know you.
Yes, this has been great.
All right.
Okay, let's get this show on the road. So when I actually envisioned coming up here, I saw a Wild West scene with where you got the hat on and you're like ready to go with your, do you get it? Like the Wild West scene with the gun shooting? That's what I thought of when I come up here.
If anybody's ever seen anybody try to zing me, I'm faster on the draw.
Okay, Psalm 145, verse 18.
Psalm 145?
Verse 18. Look, okay. I'm not going to go through all of Exodus questions this time.
Okay, Psalm 145, go ahead.
And I was saying, Yah is near to all who call upon him, to all who call upon him in truth. I was wondering if truth is owning all aspects of your life. or is it more like in his truth? When I hear it, I thought of what you talk about, owning all aspects of your life. So when we're not in truth, we're not owning everything.
Well, it's probably an aspect of it. I mean, look, we know that Yeshua is the truth. We know that the Word is the truth. We know that knowing and having a relationship with truth sets you free, right? And that idea of that relationship. I certainly think that you can have a sense that, let's see if I can find anything else. Okay, verse 14, Yahweh supporting all who are falling and raising up those who bow down. The eyes of all look to you expectantly, and you are giving them their food in season, opening your hand and satisfying their desire of all that live. Yahweh is righteous in all his ways and kind in his works. Yahweh is near to all who call upon him. So there seems to be this idea that people are calling upon him when they're struggling. And when things are, so maybe that idea that you said would be a sound way of looking at it, that if you would own your stuff, that he's going to be near and there to be with you. He's near to those who call upon him. Because look, if you're going to call upon him, I think that truth means the integrity of the reality as opposed to in some delusional hypocrisy. So if you're going to call upon him, without, saying, hey, I need you to do this, 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 and he's looking at you, yeah, but you haven't owned any of your stuff, and there's so many things you should and can do before I come and get involved. How about doing that first?
Right.
Okay? So I think that you are correct.
Okay. The verse right after that, it talks about about working in the fear.
Right.
And accepting. So I was... You've talked a lot about fear. You've talked about the fear of Yahweh. You talk about not being in fear. I mean, we went through that with the Hasatan teaching.
Right, and that verse is actually covered in the fear of Yahweh teaching.
So I understand fear of Yahweh, and I understand not having fear in a fleshly sense. My head is kind of comparing them as it's like Scripture is telling us to not have one and have the other. So it's like a yin-yang type of thing. I looked up like the Hebrew words that are being used in some of these instances, and one is like the negative, one's negative and one's positive. So like the fear of Yah is positive, and then like the fleshly, it's an irrational fear. The other type of fear that Scripture talks about, it's irrational, is how it talks about it. And it's like you can't have both together. Is that correct? Am I seeing that? Like you can't, if you're fearing Yah, you can't be fearing fleshly anything.
Okay, sounds like you need to go re-listen to Fear of Yahweh.
Okay.
Covered literally all of that.
Okay.
Almost word for word. Okay, look at the fear of Yahweh from the point of view of it being the awe and reverence.
Yeah, I get that part. Yeah.
Okay, and so it says in that verse, it says that let me just turn the page back to the beginning of the verse. Okay. It says, he does the desire of those who awe and reverence him.
Right.
Okay, the fear is to let him down, to disappoint. I mean, this is the way I explained it in that teaching, right?
Right.
Okay, as opposed to the fear of suffering, the fear of pain, the fear of something being done to you. I don't do because I'm afraid he's gonna do to me. I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint. I'm afraid I'm going to let down. I'm afraid I don't want to have him looking at me like, what are you doing? Okay, we all have had loved ones that we really respect. Look at us that way. That crushes us worse than being yelled at. That crushes us worse than being smacked. Yeah. I mean, that really hurts, okay? That's the fear, not the fear of the parent that's threatening you with the belt or the hand or some other thing. So it's not the fear of pain.
Right. Right.
Okay? It's the fear of disappointing, letting down.
But is the exchange still happening? Like you can't have, like one cannot exist in the same spot. So if you are fearing Yah, you can't be fearing the world, the flesh, the worried about the robber coming. Does that make sense?
Well, in order to properly awe and reverence him, okay, you have to know where he's coming from, what his intentions are, what his desires are.
Right.
And so he desires you to be in, but not of the world. Knowing that means that if you're awe and reverencing him and you're fearing him, how could you then fear anything else? Because
Right.
you can't do
Okay.
those two things in that right context, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, also, for those of you that are trying to accomplish certain things in your life and you're struggling, you're not getting there, I want you to understand that part of the reason you struggle is because you are trying to hold on to more than one motivator, driver in your head or in your heart.
Yeah.
Okay? I can't be motivated by awe and reverence, but also fear of destruction, pain, and suffering from some other person.
Right.
Okay, so like when you're not wanting to disappoint Yah, okay, because he says, for example, that you are not to eat pork. And then you go to mom's house or grandma's house and she puts pork in front of you and she's gonna be sad and disappointed if you don't eat it. Which pain, which fear are you afraid of? Are you afraid of disappointing grandma? Are you afraid of disappointing Yahweh?
Right.
Okay? Your boss all of a sudden says, well, we're changing things up. We're cutting down on some of the staff. We're gonna have less people, which means you guys are gonna have to pick up and do more shifts. I need some people on Saturday now. I didn't need that before. And you're like, but I can't do that. The boss said, well, then I'm gonna fire you. Which are you afraid of?
Right.
Okay, you can't hold both of those in the same space.
Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking. Perfect. That was
Okay.
awesome. So a couple months ago, you had kind of like emotionally and spiritually knocked me out when I came up here, and you threw me off because I was talking about my own fear, and you had brought it back around to how I'm afraid that people are going to judge me based on my current condition, and I've been working on it. I've been working on fear. I'll just say it like that. And I've been working on accepting who I am. And I've grieved a little bit, but you're right, it doesn't require a whole bunch of grieving. You've said it before that it's okay to not be okay. That's still correct, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it has to be because none of us is okay.
So
it has to be okay to not be okay. I mean, we all have areas of our lives that are not okay. Now, we can all have peace with those areas.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't, because we have peace with it, doesn't mean that it's okay.
Right. Okay.
You're just saying, it's not okay, but I have peace with that.
That's where I've been trying to get. I wanted to make sure, because it seems like I'm giving up when I say, at least I've told myself in the past that when I say that, I'm giving up. I'm failing in some way. And
Right.
I'm like, I don't think that's what's going on here.
No, look, again, it has to do with how you emotionally are handling. Like, for example, let's say your marriage is having challenges, your health is having challenges, your finances are having challenges, whatever it is, you can quote unquote be okay, saying, well, I'm okay, but you're not at peace,
Right.
okay? Because it may be just that defense mechanism that you throw out there, well, I'm okay.
Right.
All right. I mean, lots of
Don't ask
people,
me, I'm really doing it.
all married people have had this conversation where one of you has said to the other one, "What's wrong?" And the person says, "Nothing." And they're lying. And you know it and they know it. Okay? And so that's kind of like when you say, "I'm okay," when you're not okay. But if things are not okay, but you could say, "Things are a little messed up right now, but I have peace."
Right.
That's a whole different place. Okay? Did that help?
Yeah, that totally helped.
Good.
I do have one from Exodus. I don't know if you've actually ever explained
Okay,
this.
you know what? Before we get to the Exodus question,
Okay.
you did bring up something that I want to just remind
Okay.
everyone. All right? Shh. All right, listen. Okay? If you have an issue that you know there's a teaching that I've done, and you've already listened to the teaching, unless it was recent and you still don't understand, you might want to go back to that teaching. So like when she brought up the issue of fear, if it's been a while since you listened to Fear of Yahweh, you probably say, you know what, maybe let me go back and see what Rabbi said about it. That might answer my question. Now, if you just watched the videos or listened to the teaching and now you still have a question, certainly you should ask the question. But let's say something's coming up in your life and you're like, wow, I know Rabbi has a teaching on that I watched, but it was 5 years ago. You might want to go back to that first, because I might have addressed it, like in the things that you're saying, I absolutely addressed very clearly in the Fear of Yahweh teaching. That doesn't mean that after listening to it again, you may not still have some questions, right? But I just want to encourage everybody, just because you heard a teaching, if it wasn't recent, You might need to just go back. There's a lot you either may have missed or don't remember.
So true.
Okay?
It's so true.
Okay.
So Exodus 20:24, where it talks about, I've caused my name to be remembered.
Right.
What is he saying there? I get like the vision of like the bubble popping versus like him asking us, like I think of like remembering Shabbat, when he asks us to remember Shabbat.
No, follow what he says here. You had it right the first time, okay? He says, in every place where I cause my name to be remembered, I shall come to you and bless you.
Right.
In other words, don't expect me to come and bless you if you've completely forgotten me. But I will do things to you to cause you to remember.
Okay.
And when you actually start behaving like you remember, I will come to you and bless you.
Okay.
So it is kind of that bubble popping sort of thing.
Or the drawing.
Right. Because you see Israel, covenanted Israel, go through this cycle on and off of they're behaving right, and he comes to them and he blesses them, and other times where they disconnect because they're not remembering him.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Next page. Let's see. You kind of answered that already, which is awesome. So with Pesach coming up, and I have listened to the past, like pre-Pesach stuff. I have not been mikvahed yet. And I did do the meal last year, but I feel like you have made some hints about, for the ladies, for us to be mikvahed. I have a very hard time in the water. My goal this year, Rabbi, is to get mikvahed sometime.
All right. Well, but we have taken people who have really major physical challenges. We've taken them in the water.
I have heard. So I should be scared too.
Nobody has ever had a problem.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, we've taken people in worse physical condition than you and put them in the water and helped them get in and helped them get out and everything. Nobody's ever had even the slightest problem. You got to trust.
I got to fear.
Your husband will be there.
Yesterday.
The shamishes will be there. Some of the shamishes in training will be there. We'll have plenty of guys there to help you get in and get out.
Okay. Am I still, if I don't do it before Pesach, am I allowed to still participate? Okay.
Sure.
That's what I wanted to know.
Sure. And you can do it during unleavened bread when we do our family picnic.
Okay.
Or if the water might be a little cold for you, you can wait till the summer when we do the summer picnic.
Okay. Fantastic.
But you just have to have peace and trust that between us, especially your husband, okay, we're going to help you into the water and watch you through the whole process and then help you make sure you're back out and safely on the ground, okay?
It's like
there's nothing to really worry about.
A pain thing. The last time when I was bedbound and I got into the water, it was an extreme amount of pain. So it's been a while since I've actually tried it. So that's what the fear is, more the pain.
Okay, we should figure out what was the movement that your body was doing in the water that caused the pain.
It was just the vertical holding that. It's like my abs and lower back. It was just not holding me at all.
But again, we could have somebody holding you, like.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And helping you lower you in and lower you out. I mean, you don't have to be standing up. You don't have to be. We can have that.
I don't have to fully bound. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm sure your husband would be very happy to help carry you.
Look, I'm like, I got to do this all by myself.
It's easy to carry. It's easy to carry anybody in water.
Just throw me up the rope. Reel me in. No, I appreciate that.
And for anybody that's coming here, we have the least scary place to do this, okay? The water is very, very, very gradual in terms of it getting deep, like it almost doesn't. You got to go way out before it even gets over your waist sometimes. So it's not like you have to worry about going out and then falling right into a hole somewhere. It's very smooth, okay? It's very, very safe. And like I said, it gets deep very slowly, and you can very comfortably get to where you need to go.
Okay.
And we can make sure to help carry you out to where you need to go so you don't have to worry about your back or your abs or whatever you're having your challenge with. That's why I asked the question. I wanted to know, clearly it was some part of the body moving that was causing you the problem.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That was great. I was so worried about that, and I forgot to ask you about that.
No problem.
Okay, so interesting what you bringing up, go re-listen and stuff. I noticed it happened a couple of the zone meetings where people had been listening to the stream and they missed something. Why do we have such a hard time hearing sometimes? Is it just a distraction thing? Is it like you can be listening and you miss something completely, even if you've listened to it more than once? Is it, I don't want to say it's always distraction.
No. I mean, there's probably a big part of this. Let me get this up there a little bit more. Okay. There's probably a big part of this that has to do with, and so this can work well and it can work against you. It can work well if you are, let me first say what I'm saying. You're guessing what the person is saying in your head. If you guess correctly, that's great. You already kind of know where they're going. If you guess incorrectly, you're going to miss a bunch of stuff.
That makes sense.
Okay, because information as it's coming in, your brain is already going, do I already know that? Do I know what to do with that? Do I know what that means? Do I know what that relates to? And so that connections that you're trying to make, if you make them wrong, everything you hear now is going to be wrong because it's based on a wrong connection you made at the early part of the whole deal.
That makes sense.
So don't ever do that, especially with me, if I'm teaching, because I'm probably going to be saying things you've not heard before, unless you've heard me say it before. I'm saying, but the first time you hear me say it, so you can't just assume you know where I'm going, because you'll probably be wrong a lot, all right? Okay? And so, this works in a positive, like this morning with Grayson, and I said, if you just ask your question, as soon as you start telling me the verses you're looking at, my brain will likely go to the right place as to where you're trying to go.
Right.
Okay? And it's not that you never go to the right place either, you do. What I'm saying is, but if you're going to hear something and all of a sudden filter it only through what you've always understood something to be, you're going to miss the things that were different.
I just get it all the time. But I notice a lot of people do it. Like we'll be listening, we'll be looking, looks like we're listening. I mean, even with my note taking, I know my note taking can get distracting. It's almost like I shouldn't take notes. I should just listen the first time, then go back through again and take notes.
But it's also, I think there's also a part of, as you're learning things, okay, you're only able to receive so much at the level you're at.
Okay.
And then later, if you go back and do it again after you've elevated a little bit, you'll hear and receive some things you missed the first time.
Okay.
I use this example all the time. When we were doing the Heart of the Matter challenge, listening to 64 parts of that teaching over 64 days, that's a challenge, okay? I did it with the group on Marco Polo, okay, for the first 5 or 8 or 10 days, whatever it was. I did it, and then I got too busy, I couldn't do it with them anymore. But what I did was, I listened to the part just like they did, and then I gave sort of my director's cut. What did I get hearing it? Not from when I taught it, not from my notes. What did I take new notes as someone listening? And I had so many people say, I just listened to it and I missed that. How did I miss that?
Yes.
Okay? Because I'm hearing it through a whole different level of ears than you are. Okay? So it's easy for you to miss things. And I was just hitting the highlights of things I said, did you catch this part? Did you catch this part? Did you catch this part? It was my bullet points.
Right.
As someone who was listening to it saying, these were the things you should have got out of it. And you could still miss things, right?
I really do. And that's why I appreciate the shorts so much, because I end up re-listening to teachings because I missed just that little clip. It was like, how did I miss that? And
but there's so many possible reasons for you missing. For example, you're in a teaching and I say something that you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed, right?
Yes.
You're not hearing anything for the next 6 or 8, 10 minutes. You're hearing it, but you're not hearing it because you're so changed by or affected by what you just heard, the aha, that you can't really process anything for a few minutes after that. So without pausing, you're gonna miss a bunch of stuff because your brain is still all excited about or disturbed by or whatever it is that I just did, right? You're like, what did he just say?
Yes.
And now you're not hearing the rest of it.
That's good.
Okay?
Yes.
So this is why I tell all of you wanna know what I would do if I was sitting in your chairs? I would listen to the teaching live as it's happening, no notebook paper out, not taking any notes or anything. Just have your verses out so you can read them and just absorb as you're experiencing. Then when you have time, go home, when you're at home, re-listen with the pause button and your notes if you want to write notes or whatever, but with the pause button so you can actually think about everything that's being said. I'd like you just to naturally allow it to be whatever it is the first time through. Just let it play through, okay? I try to do that with personal development, either audio books or even written books. I try to not take too much notes or anything like that the first time through. I just want to kind of let it kind of flow into me and see what my natural response is, knowing, that's why I have peace, that I don't feel like, uh-oh, I better write that down. Knowing I'm going to go through it again.
Right.
And this time I'm going to go slowly and break it down and digest it in smaller bites, okay?
That makes more sense. I think I should start doing that. That's good, Rabbi.
I was reading one night, and sometimes I like to use the footnotes, and sometimes they take me places, and this time it took me to Zechariah 5, and the scroll in the first 5 verses of Zechariah 5.
Right.
When I read that, it kind of triggered a memory that I've had of hearing people who challenge faith, and they say, if your God is so wonderful, if your God is so loving and omniscient, omnipresent and omnipotent, why does he allow terrible things to happen to innocent people? Why does he allow evil people to do terrible things to innocent people? And when I read this, the first 4 verses of Zechariah 5, I thought to myself, well, that's got to be it right there to test, if the people who are doing bad things actually have that in their heart, as well as to test the innocent to see if the innocent are still going to be drawn to Yahweh. Because in my mind, it works out that the best way to find out if somebody actually is, kind of on your side with things is to remove the consequence for them doing stuff that's not in your favor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, look, all of you that have done this with your children or watch other people do it with children know how badly it works out. If you prevent anything from going wrong as best you can and don't let them experience anything and everything else, they don't grow into anything, okay? They don't develop into anything. Well, they do, into spoiled brats, okay, who are useless, all right? So one of the things that Yah does, he allows us an environment that is challenging so that we grow. So he knows what we're made out of. But the other thing is, he wants, because our pride, our ego, our arrogance, he wants us to know, you tried it your way. This is what happens. If he jumped in all the time, right? Your child, if you're always jumping in, that child has no idea whether they could do it themselves or not. How would they ever know? So the child could always say, well, I could have handled this without you. Well, let's go ahead and see that. Anybody have had the phrase ever spoken at them? So how's that going for you? Whatever came before that was something you decided to do your way. All right, and how's that going for you? How's that working? That's one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why Yah lets this play out the way it does, so that we can have a definitive, something we cannot argue against, evidence that our way does not work. Without him, it does not work, okay? And so he's allowing that. So that's why bad things happen. It's not because he's allowing bad things to happen. He's allowing almost everything good or bad to happen. He's not actively doing, don't get mad at me and don't get mad at him, but he's not actively doing much. He set everything in motion so he doesn't need to do much. Now he's letting it play out to see how it all plays out. And to get because the system he built is perfect, meaning it will perfectly bring out the truth about everybody. Okay, so he doesn't need to get that involved in anything. I know that Christianity wants to make you think he's involved in everything, so therefore you need to be asking him even what color, whatever to buy. Dumb, Well, I was gonna go buy a car, but I didn't know which one he wanted me to buy. He doesn't care. He only cares whether or not you're gonna buy one that's gonna blow up on you. And even then, he's gonna let you be stupid and buy the one that blows up on you. And he only cares from the point of view of watching you make bad decisions or good decisions. Okay, did that help?
I think so, but part where it's like, this is the curse that goes forth over the face of the earth. Everyone who is stealing shall go unpunished on the one side, and according to it, and everyone who has sworn falsely shall go unpunished on the other side. It sounds like it kind of reads that if that he's planning to allow wicked people to do evil things for a time.
Well, it's not, okay, again, let's simplify this. He's allowing people to do things. People are gonna do good things, people are gonna do evil things. People are gonna do destructive things, things are gonna do productive things, okay? He's talking here about one side of it, but he's just allowing people to do things. Because it's going to tell us a lot about two things, right? One, we'll learn about the people that are doing. Two, we'll learn about how the people who are not doing are responding to what the other people were doing, okay? So everybody he's learning something about. And so when he talks about, well, this is the curse that goes forth over the face of the earth, everyone who is stealing shall go unpunished. He said, this is a curse you're bringing upon yourself. It's going to look like the wicked are prospering. Many a prophet has said, how come it looks like the evil prosper? I said, well, he's like, well, that's just an appearance. Okay, they're not really prospering. But it's there to tempt you to say, well, they're succeeding. Why can't I just do what they're doing and get the same result? Well, because you're looking at something that's not real. It looks like it's succeeding, but it's not succeeding. You know? Every day, if you wanted to look for it, but on a regular basis, we all hear about somebody that takes their own life or does something else to destroy their lives who had, quote unquote, everything. So what looks like success, but they had everything. No, they didn't. They had what you thought of, or the world might think of as everything. That's what, when you have a prophet saying, well, why does it look like the wicked are prospering? You're measuring it against worldly prosperity. You're not measuring it against true prosperity, okay? Inside, they're dead man's bones. Inside, they're all disastrous tragedy and a train wreck. So we have to be aware that he allows all this to play out so that we can learn to discern. So when you look at something, we go, well, that looks like they're being successful. Appearances can be deceiving. Is it actual that they're being successful? Are they actually being successful? Or is it just the appearance of it, right? So he allows these things to play out, okay? He allows it to play out.
Excellent. That answered my question, Rabbi.
Good.
And then the second question I had, and I've wanted to ask this for a while, but I haven't had the chance to. Can you tell me a little bit about Omer?
No. Okay, next.
Okay.
I wanted to go back to what you were talking about. I think you've mentioned two things related to my question. So first I want to start with reading a little bit from Psalm 100. And this may be coming from my Christian background, because unfortunately I still have remaining, false teachings from it. And I really want to get rid of it. Okay, so Psalm 100.
Right.
It's verse 4. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, bless his name, for Yahweh is good. Okay, so this, I have a little bit of a confusion with the last parsha. Okay, so I was wondering, the molded calf. Okay, so I was wondering. You explained to us that the problem was that they called that Yahweh, that they made that an idol, right? And they worshiped that.
You're right.
Right. Okay. So my question with this verse that I just read is, how do you find balance? And I know you have explained this to me, but I'm still not able to understand the difference. How do you find balance giving credit to maybe your own efforts or somebody else who has helped you in a project or something, right, in your life, with a specific area of your life? If we know that everything comes from him, whether he allows it or causes that, I think it's a mental block, because maybe I was taught so wrongly before, and I feel like if I give credit, I will give thanks to somebody who's helped me, and I will recognize what I've done, but ultimately, in my belief, in the background, I'm thinking everything is from him, and I just want to give him praise for that and thank him for that. And I often find myself thanking him for situations, even for things that, bless Yahweh, but the other day he spared one of my kids from an accident.
Sure.
And so I just struggled with finding the balance without making, because I feel like I don't want to make anything a molded calf, but please help me. I don't know if you understand my question.
I certainly do not.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway.
Try.
Look, the bottom line is when things happen, okay, and somebody else does things, of course we give them some appreciation, but of course whatever gifts and talents they have still comes from above. But as far as us giving Yah credit for everything, we're not going to think of that every minute of every day of every single thing that happens. We could be sitting there thanking him all day long. It's having an attitude of vertical awareness that we just appreciate generally all that he's doing at all times. And we do take those moments where we pause and thank him. And that's part of why it does help to have maybe that once or twice a day that you take a moment to just say, you know what, for everything that's been going on already today, or for everything that will go on if it's in the morning for the rest of the day, I just want to appreciate and thank you for even giving me the time to go through this experience called life and that kind of thing, right? So, but otherwise, I don't really see how you're connecting it in some way to idolatry or whatever. I don't know what you're meaning.
Yeah, because, like in Christianity, we used to say, well, it's all him, and we'll give him all the glory. You know what I mean? Like that's what we were taught, and that's what we would say, And so if somebody will give you a compliment or something for something, well, God, God provided for that. But in a way, he is providing. Isn't he providing for everything? Or, maybe this is more of a counseling session.
I have no idea why you're struggling with this.
Yeah.
I mean, he does provide everything, and yes, you should thank him and appreciate what he does.
Right. And so giving him thanks and giving somebody else thanks doesn't contradict the other, one or the other.
You should always appreciate the person doing it. They need words of encouragement. A lot of people, that is their love language. But people, for their self-worth, for their feeling valued, need to be appreciated and told thank you for what you do. I appreciate the thing. But it will also encourage them to keep doing more of it, okay? I mean, even all of us are looking forward to hearing the words, well done. Well, wait a minute, but if we did it because of him, and then why are we thanking them? See what I'm saying? You could even have that problem.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, yeah, that's helpful. Okay, Rabbi, 33:14, right, from Shemoth, from Exodus. My presence does go, and I shall give you rest, right? He's talking to Moshe. Okay, so rest. When I thought of that word, what does that mean? Is that peace? Is that shalom?
Let's see, in verse 12, Moshe said, Yahweh, see, you are saying to me, bring up this people, but you have not made known to me whom you would send with me, though you said, you know my name. I said, okay, and now please, if I found favor in your eyes, please show me your way. Let me know you. And then he said, my presence does go, and I shall give you rest. And he said to him, if your presence is not going, do not lead us up here. All right. So what are you trying to do as far as I shall give you rest part?
The rest, what does that mean exactly, rest? Is it peace? Shalom? Is that what it means?
Okay, let's use modern day English. Moshe is stressing, and Yahweh says, don't stress. It's going to be okay.
Okay.
All right? Because Moshe's like, well, you told me to bring these people up, but you haven't told me how to do this, and he's stressing. And Yahweh says, chill. Okay? It's all right. Okay? He says, my presence does go, and I will give you peace. I don't have to give you all the details. My presence is going to go. You're going to follow me, and it's all going to be fine. All right?
Okay, so that's connected. So it's kind of what I understood. So that's connected with something that you said earlier.
Right.
And that was my second or follow-up question. Okay, so I don't remember if you were talking to Olivia but at some point you were saying, well, whatever's happening in your life, you need to have peace with that. Okay, so when I read that verse, maybe it was my wrong misunderstanding, but if he's going with us, that means that we're walking with him. He's not just going to go with us without we going somewhere else. So if we're following him and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, the result of that, shouldn't that be having peace with whatever? Or is that more of an individual kind of thing that we have to now pursue, do the best we can for that? And I think it's the second one because this morning, this week was a very long week. A lot going on. So this morning, I felt like when I was driving here, before I was driving here, I felt like I didn't really have that joy and the shalom and all what that I should have, the right attitude for Shabbat.
Sure.
So then I did something, and then that helped me quite a bit. And then I got here and I was ready, like praising and all the good things that we want to receive from him. So peace is something that he gives to us as we walk with him, or is it that plus us needing to also work on ourselves to pursue that peace and to keep that peace?
All right, well, he says both of these things. One of the things he does say is pursue peace. Okay, there's a few places where he says that that's something you should be in pursuit of, which you make the effort to have peace, and you make the effort to be at peace, if possible to be at peace with all men, right? It says those kind of things. But also, it says in this particular case, I'm going to lead. If you follow me, you'll have peace. Right? It says not you go and I'll be with you. He says I'm going and if you follow me. Because the cloud and the fire went before them. They followed it. Okay? So the picture is that picture. Okay? So it's both. So you're correct. It's both.
Okay, great. All right, now 34:6. Okay, from the same book. So Yahweh is compassionate, showing favor, all that.
Right.
All right.
The 13 attributes.
Yes. Okay, so there's something called compassion fatigue, okay, for people who take care of other people, like working in a helping profession, right? I do that day long. But I am also a mom, and I'm a wife. So we as women, as wives and mothers, we're nurturing, right? We're giving. We're giving love, providing, whatever, right? Not providing like the husband, but, for the children, whatever, right? So I know we're not like him, but we want to be like him. We need to become like him, right? So compassion, he's a compassionate L, means like his compassion is like never ending, right? But shouldn't our compassion start with ourselves first?
Sure.
Before we pour into other people.
Sure.
It's just a confirmation with my own struggle.
It's the oxygen mask thing, right? You put it on yourself first. But also understand, is compassion fatigue actually compassion fatigue? Or is it because you're not getting reciprocal response? I don't think you ever have a problem giving and giving and giving when you get response. Take a mom or a dad or somebody with a little baby, and as long as that baby keeps giving you that great feedback, you do that all day long, every day, all day, every day, all day. When that little brat gives you nothing but grief back, you get worn out. You don't get worn out, though, when you get the positive feedback, right? You can sit there and do that all day. But it's when you're giving and the person's giving you not what you want back, okay? Because you're giving and they're dishing out. How's that, okay? That's where we get what we're calling compassion fatigue, but it really isn't that. You just become tired of giving and it's all one-sided, okay? And so that's where we kind of fall short. It's not that you just give too much and now you run out of stuff to give. If you were getting the reciprocity you were hoping for, you could keep going as long as forever. You could just keep going, all right? Husbands and wives, same thing. If one is giving to the other just keep pouring out and not feeling like they're getting anything back, it gets to be rough. But if they are getting back, that never seems to run out, okay? So I don't know that it's actually compassion fatigue. I think it's an imbalance in the reciprocity, the reciprocal, in the response you were hoping for. Okay, you don't need them to be compassionate back. Maybe they just need to be thankful. Maybe they need to stop being an ornery son of a whatever. I mean, they have to, because there are people we pour out a lot of compassion on that we take care of and care give, and they are brutal. Here's a message for all of you. When you get older, be nice. Be humble. Chill the pride and the ego. When you can't, you can't. And you need help, you need help. Stop making it brutal on everybody who wants to help you. Because then nobody's going to want to help you. And you're like, oh, I don't care. Yes, you do. Okay? All right? I'll tell you what. I've dealt with some people that are terrible patients and terrible at being caregivers. I mean, I'm easy. You might not understand that or think that. I am so easy. Okay, when I was really sick, how many years ago? I am the most docile, submissive patient you ever saw. because I have no ego pride about if I need help, I need help. And I'm very thankful and appreciative, and I'm very cooperative and submissive to what needs to happen. It's when people get their pride and ego, well, I'm your parent and you're my child. No, you're the one who's now the child. I'm now the parent. You can't even take care of yourself. Okay, whatever it is. Please, everybody, when you get to that place, be nice. Okay? Don't get yourself all into some prideful ego, whatever. You're going to get older and not be able to handle certain things. You're going to need help. And now when that happens, okay, it happens. I needed help doing everything. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Okay, so I wasn't even that old, but I couldn't move or breathe or do anything. So I needed somebody to do almost everything. And so I smiled and was thankful, and I was very easy to work with. And you can ask my wife. I am, a lot of guys have a reputation of being horrible patients. Okay, don't be that way. If you need the help, let people help you, appreciate it. Otherwise, they will get what she called compassion fatigue. Okay, let's not do that to people. All right.
I bless Yahweh and praise Yahweh for you, Rabbi. I just want to say that because you do give so much to us on a continuous basis, and I pray that Yahweh fills you and give you your desires and everything, bless you abundantly because you do put your life for us and done for us. So
Well, good.
Thank you.
Good. And look, the person who asked earlier about peace and the truth, right? If the truth is you can't, whatever it is, then have peace that you can and let someone help you. Why do we strike against that, fight against that, struggle against that? That's all ridiculousness. All right, let me answer Michael's question from earlier now that he came back. Lag BaOmer, I didn't have a good answer. Why? Because it's a Jewish holiday that they invented that is not scriptural, and I didn't have a good answer. Obviously, with the word Omer in there, I knew it had something to do with the Omer count. So I quickly looked it up to remember it, because obviously growing up as a Jew, I heard of Lag BaOmer. I knew it fell during the Omer count. It was something that they created that basically commemorated the day on which, quote unquote, a plague that had been afflicting Rabbi Akiva's students ended, okay? And so this is like on day 33 of the Omer count or something like that. It's just a tradition, all right? So it's also apparently the day of the anniversary of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's death. It could be also something that had to do with the Bar Kokhba rebellion against the Romans. I mean, this is all kinds of things they want to connect to it. All right. So the reason I say I have nothing to say about it because it's not relevant to us. Okay. I'm not against anything Jewish. It's just something they invented that they do. It's just like, we celebrate here, Independence Day on July 4th. If you live in another country, that day means nothing to you because it's something that we do, right? This is something the Jews do because it means something to them culturally as Jews, not as religiously as anything. Okay. So just so you know, so for us, it's not something we celebrate.
As I've been stating for the last several months, I've been really trying to understand Peter so I can understand myself better. Because the more and more I'm studying him, the more and more I'm realizing we're very similar. It's almost scary. So I have two questions.
That's what I always think when I read Peter. Man, he sounds just like Ashley.
Hey, no, there's a good thing to this because here's why. I have now know how to study a version of myself and get better to where he was because he was chosen by Yah. So I have a playbook. With that, two questions. My first one is...
See, the only difference is I don't think you would have missed his head and cut the ear off. That's my thing I think is different between you and Peter.
That's actually partly my first question. You're funny.
I think you would have taken the head right off is what I think. Michael's like, yep. Okay.
You know me so well. Oh my gosh. Okay. Rabbi, when Peter, the apostle, drew the sword to defend Yeshua in the Gospel of John 18, his loyalty was clear, but Yeshua corrected him. How do we discern when defending Yahweh's truth is righteous zeal and when it becomes zeal that is actually out of alignment with Yahweh's will?
All right, look, this is a good question to ask. The whole convoluted way you asked it is a problem to some degree. But look, let me make this simple, all right? There was none of what you said was there, okay? What happened was he decided that Yeshua needed defending. He decided that he wanted to do. So it's not what you were talking about. None of what you said was involved there. There wasn't any zeal to protect. Yahweh didn't need anything. Yeshua didn't need anything, okay? Let there be a lesson to all of you wives. Stop jumping inside in front of whatever your husbands when they didn't ask, Okay? Stop doing that for your children when they don't ask, when they're old enough that they should be able to handle their own things. This is where you helicopter moms and your other people that feel like in your blueness that you have to jump in and prevent injustice from happening. Yeshua didn't ask him to do anything. Yeshua's standing right there. Why would anybody think Yeshua needed anything? Okay? You know, the one thing I did do, and I've mentioned to you several times, all of you, that I've watched some of the few of the episodes of The Chosen, because I thought it was interesting to see how they portrayed some of the life going on in between things that were happening in the story, in the Gospels. And there were so many things that they did. I'm thinking, and I'm listening to their conversations, and they're always afraid that something's going to happen to him. And this, I'm like, he is right there. What is wrong with you people? He didn't say he needed you to worry about it. He didn't say you needed to protect him. He didn't say that you needed to set up guard and this and that and be all afraid. This is our human inserting ourselves. So the answer to your question is, be careful. Is it you or is it him? There's no need to reword it. I'll say it again, though. You need to be careful. Is it you, your emotion, driving all this, or is it him? He doesn't generally need you to do anything, okay? Peter jumped out on his own in his blueness. In that moment, a terrible, horrible injustice in his mind was about to happen. They were going to arrest Yeshua. And Yeshua was like, stop, this is supposed to happen, okay? But it's the same guy who said, be kind to yourself, master, you know. Peter did not think anything ever should go wrong, especially not to Yeshua, okay? But he jumped in and inserted himself where he did not belong, nor was he asked to be there. Okay? Ladies, don't do that with your husbands. Husbands, I want you to know, I purposely told your wives to stop jumping in there, let you fall on your face. Unless you ask them, they should let you fall on your face. Okay? So that you grow and you learn. Ladies, just like your child has to fall when they're learning to walk, if you never let them fall, they're never going to learn how to walk. But they're going to hurt themselves. We all fall and scrape ourselves, bang our head, cut our lip. Everybody's done that, and yet we're still alive. We survive somehow. Okay, I don't remember anybody dying because they tripped when they were first learning how to walk, okay, and hit a piece of furniture. That just doesn't happen. They might get a stitch or something, but they live, and they learn, okay? Peter was pretty thick-headed and very, very blue, okay? I mean, he just was going to jump right in there, and that pendulum would swing all over the place. You know, oh no, don't wash my feet. Oh, but then you're not part of me. Oh, don't drown me in it. And I can see Yeshua looking at him like, that's just Peter, okay? I mean, he's just that way. You know, just all over the map, but it's not really all over the map. It's logically the way you'd expect him to behave. So zealous, but not paying attention to that. If Yeshua was there, there's nothing to say. If Yeshua was there, there's nothing to do, okay? Otherwise, you're usurping, okay? This is a problem. This is a problem. I mean, I told you the story how we had a lady say something on the microphone. I handled it. She didn't like the way I handled it. And then, her husband got on the microphone. She didn't like the way he handled it. So she took the mic from him. But he was handling it. But he wasn't doing it the way she wanted. That's too bad. He was handling it, okay? Yeshua was standing right there. I'm going to sit back and see, I wonder what he's going to do. I'm not worried that he doesn't have everything under control. I've already seen him do all these other miracles. I already know, because this is at the end, right? He's getting arrested at the end here. I've already seen a couple of years of amazing things. I'm not at all worried about this guy. Whatever's happening, he's allowing it to happen, right? But Peter doesn't want to allow things to happen. Some of you are the same thing. You're trusting Yah, but do you really trust him? Or do you still jump in and not allow things to happen? Okay, sometimes you got to let things happen. It's hard for you, I know. Okay, look, all of you, I am not trying to be insulting. I'm not trying to be anything condescending or whatever, or judging. All of you who have active blue sides have to be careful that that doesn't get you in trouble. It's one of the best sides of you when it's functioning right. It's also the thing that gets you in most of your trouble, okay? And so you have to make sure you have a handle on that, okay? Okay, because to me, blue has all the best and worst all packed into one. It just does, okay? So I don't want you guys to get rid of it completely. Almost all the really, really good stuff is in there. But it's balanced by having all this other stuff that really can get you in all kinds of trouble. All right? Does that help?
Yes, but I have a follow-up to that question then. So I'm wondering, because when you were saying all that, I kept thinking, well, then, and I'm going to say we because I identify with him so much, then are we using Yeshua then as a crutch and didn't want him to go yet because it ain't done yet? We're not done growing yet. Stay here so you can help correct me?
I don't know that I'd word it that way. What I'd word it with this way. You guys, again, same thing from the blue problem. You still want it to play out the way you want it to play out. And you're going to do everything you can to force it to play out the way you want it to play out. And that's where it all goes sideways, okay? Because you really can't force most things to play out the way you want. So you're frustrated, and everybody that you're pushing on is frustrated, all right? Instead of grabbing a little bit of this red, and allowing it to be, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. What makes me a really good patient, I think, is that proper side, not all red sides. Some red sides can get real ornery and stuff. But that proper red side of, look, it is what it is. I can't do, I'm very happy to let you help me. I recognize I can't do. It is what it is. I'm not angry about it. I'm not going to throw a fit about it. I'm not going to pretend it's not true. Same thing with you. If something's playing out and it's going to go badly and it's not your thing to get involved in, you're going to have to let it play out. That's hard to do, but you got to let it play out.
I am working on that, but as you said, it's not easy. My second, and thank you for that, by the way. My second question, still with Peter, is after Peter was denied Yeshua 3 times, he is restored in Gospel of John 21 and told to feed my sheep. What changed in Peter's heart that made him ready for leadership after that failure, and how do we recognize when someone has truly moved from repentance into restoration?
All right, I think you misinterpreted that a little bit. Yeshua did tell him to feed the sheep. I don't know that was because he was now ready for leadership, because in that whole conversation, there's a huge disconnect, okay? Where Yeshua says, do you agape me? Do you love me? And Peter's like, of course I love you. And he used a different word. He used friendship love, okay? And so that whole conversation was disconnected, but he was trying to help grow him up, saying, I need you to do certain things. I'm going to be leaving here. I need you to do certain things. I need you to step up, and that means I want you to feed my sheep. I want you to take care of my flock, okay? So this came from his growing through the experience where Yeshua said, you're going to deny me. He's like, oh, not me. Of course not. Peter's never going to admit he's got any kind of a failure that he might be coming up. I would never do that. And Yeshua's like, oh, the humble is coming. The humble hammer is coming. That's what you guys need, the humble hammer. Okay? Yeah, make a new t-shirt with the humble hammer on it. Bam, okay? All right? But he came to realize, and he was very tear-filled and sad and when he realized that he had done that, okay? And he learned a lot from that. And Yeshua knows his heart. And so he was basically saying, look, you're not perfect. I didn't pick anybody because they were perfect, but I picked the right guy. You have this in you. Look, David was about as blue as they can be. But these guys, with all their blueness, also loved so passionately, loved God so passionately, and did everything with that level of passion that really is praiseworthy and a great example for us, okay? And so he was not ready, meaning completely perfect and set. You're where you need to be to go and try and start doing these things, okay? Still, he needed to have a vision. In Acts 10, he still had to have some other issues handled that he was not ready completely on how to handle people yet. But at least it was a start, right?
Perfect, thank you. That's why I'm happy I have you as a teacher, because I didn't realize I had that wrong.
Good.
But thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good. And look, again, some of you got to remember that one of the reasons why this came up earlier, that you might interpret scripture wrong, or you might need to hear a teaching more than once or whatever, is because if you filtered it through whatever filter, it could be your letters from your cognitive functions, it could be your colors, it could be just your personal experiences, you're going to hear it a certain way. And then because of how you filtered it through that way of hearing it, you're going to respond to it a certain way. You're going to get only that out of it.